held, and why is she being held in Afghanistan? And then on the 4th of August 2008, the US government, they confirmed that Aafia Siddiqui has been extradited to the US from Afghanistan, where they allege that she has been detained from mid-July 2008, and they claim that your sister Aafia Siddiqui had been arrested outside of the governor's house in Afghanistan, possessing manuals of explosives, a list of targets and dangerous substances in sealed jars. And then after that, they further allege that your sister, your blood sister, who you've known since a child, your blood sister, who is known as being studious, religious, not extremist, not fundamentalist, nothing of this nature, you find out that she's been accused of picking up an automatic rifle from the floor in prison, aimed at a soldier at point blank range, and misses after firing with screams of Allahu Akbar. Yeah? So many emotions are running through your head. There's relief that Dr. Aafia is alive, but you're shocked and angry with the details of this whole situation. She's been missing for years and no one knows of her whereabouts of that time, and then she randomly turns up with explosives, a list of targets, and then picks a gun up off the floor and shoots at point blank range and hits absolutely no one. And you start to question what US soldier or what sane person would invade a country and then leave their gun lying around the floor of a prison of the people who you've just invaded. And then you start to question, how is it someone can miss at point blank range with a machine gun, not hit anyone, and a whole group of soldiers? And then you start to question why the soldiers themselves, their stories differ. One soldier says that she snatched a gun from me. Another soldier says that she picked up the gun up off the floor. One soldier saying that she just managed to have a gun and he doesn't know how she managed to get that gun. And then you start to question, how is it that if she shoots at the soldiers at point blank range, why is there no evidence of gunshot holes in the wall? No bullet hole casings, no gunpowder residue, none of these things. You start to question. Now, the United States had previously denied the presence of female detainees in Baghram, and they denied that Aafia was ever held there, bar medical treatment in 2008. But prisoners in Baghram, you're shocked to find out that they definitely heard the screaming of one woman, this prisoner 650. And maybe now you're slightly more afraid because you vaguely heard about rendition flights, and because of that you now decide to do some checking on exactly what rendition is. And you're shocked to find out that the CIA have globally abducted supposed terrorists, over 3,000 since 2001, and they take these supposed terrorists to places known for torture, known for serious barbaric torture. And so you decide to do some more research on Baghram, and you're horrified to find out that at Baghram it once held twice as many prisoners as Guantanamo Bay. And the prisoners were crammed into wire cages, were routinely tortured, were forced to sleep on the floor, and had buckets for toilets until even those buckets were taken away. And many prisoners were held there secretly and have been there for years, no access to lawyers, no legal representatives. Many of them, majority of them rather, not even knowing the allegations against them. They don't even know why they're there. Most perhaps are all innocent victims, only being guilty of being Muslims, as Allah Azza wa Jalla told us about Ashab al-Ukhdud, وَمَا نَقَمُوا مِنْهُمْ إِلَّا أَن يُؤْمِنُوا بِاللَّهِ الْعَزِيزِ الْحَمِيدِ. They had done nothing wrong, they had no faults, they wasn't treated ill except that they believed in Allah, the Almighty, the one worthy of praise. You're shocked to find out that in 2005, The Guardian reports that a prisoner by the name of Mustafa recounts what happened to him in Baghram. And he says that he was handcuffed gagged and blindfolded and forced to bend over a table by 3 US soldiers, in which they pulled down his trousers, and he goes on to say that they forcibly rammed a stick up my rectum. That's Baghram. And you're imagining your sister, your blood sister, in a situation like that. In another case, you hear about a man or 2 men, one by the name of Wasim Abdurrahman and another called Ahmed Ad-Dimawi. And they said for over 40 days they were threatened with dogs, stripped and photographed in shameful and obscene positions, placed in a wire cage and had a hook between their handcuffs and were hanging from a rope, blindfolded for 2 days. Both of these men were never charged and later released. You hear about the case about a man by the name of Dilawar, who was a taxi driver, who was just picked up off of the street, taken to Baghram and beaten for a very long time until he died. Things just don't add up, you know. Things don't add up. How did Aafia end up in Afghanistan? Where are her children? This whole time you're wondering, where are her children? What happened between 2003 and 2008? What happened to your blood sister Aafia Siddiqui? You're desperate to see her, you're desperate to hug her, you're desperate to kiss her, you're desperate to hold her once again, but the authorities say that she's only allowed to be visited by her legal team. And every time she is visited by her legal team, she's humiliated with strip searches and cavity searches by male officers. This legal team, they reveal what happened to Aafia during this 5-year gap from 2003 to 2008. And again, you're shocked, appalled and disgusted to hear that whilst on her way to the airport, she says that 15 to 20 people, including a white lady and Pakistanis, were waiting for her in 3 to 4 vehicles. And she was kidnapped. And Aafia was placed into one black car, and her 3 children were ripped, crying from her arms, and placed in another car. And she describes to her lawyer that she was immediately hooded and drugged. And whilst in custody, she's shown a picture of an 8-month-old baby. And the kidnapper said that this is your son Suleiman and we've killed him. What are you going to do about it? Aafia claims to a legal team that she was kidnapped by the Pakistani intelligence services, and her children, she didn't know what happened to them after that. And then she says that she was held in secret prisons for 5 years. During that time, she had much of her hair pulled out one by one, hit in the face many times with guns. The gunshot wounds were never healed properly, never treated properly. Had all of her teeth knocked out and her nose broken. And the rape, not by one person, by groups of people, one after the other. That's your blood sister. And imagine your feelings, how you felt at the time. You didn't know what to do. So many emotions you were feeling at that time. And then, after all of this, she's charged. And she's about to go to court. And then you hear Iqbal Haidar, the co-person of the Human Rights Commissions of Pakistan, saying that when he saw pictures of her, all he saw was a beat-up, frail, helpless woman. The effects of torture, abuse and rape, continuous rape, are apparent. And there are dark circles under her eyes, and a badly repaired broken nose. And overall, a picture of severely dehydrated, sick person on her deathbed. It shows the inhumane brutality of an apparently civilized nation by the administration of a country which claims to be the most civilized. Your sister has a court hearing, and her life, her well-being is in the hands of this court. And you're hoping for some kind of justice, and then you realize that it may not come, because the same court that she's being tried in is right next to ground zero, right next to the incident of September the 11th. Aafia's request for a new defense team is rejected. She's given a defense team, and you start to question, well, if all of this has happened so far, then, and she's getting a lawyer for free, you kind of know what lawyer she's going to receive. And then the media are on her back again. Lady Al-Qaeda is brought to justice. Lady Al-Qaeda this, Lady Al-Qaeda that. And then the judge decides that there will be no details about her disappearance from 2003 to 2008. None of that will be mentioned in court. None of that will be mentioned as evidence. And as you're waiting for the verdict, you're hoping that all of this will just blow over. You're praying that all of this will just blow over, and the US will admit their errors and just try to do some right for your sister Dr Aafia Siddiqui. And then you heard the news, she receives 86 years in prison. 86 years. So she was kidnapped, she was raped, she was abused, and then you find out that the soldiers, they would urinate on the Quran and force her to walk over it after stripping her naked. Her children, she doesn't know where her children are. You don't know where your nieces and nephews are. All of that happened to her, and then she receives an 86-year prison sentence for the attempted murder of US soldiers, in which there's so many holes in this story, it's amazing. And imagine that these people would treat serial rapists, murderers, thieves, child traffickers, all you name it, with dignity and respect, that they don't give these people any kind of sentence like this. But your sister, your studious sister, your sister who is soft-spoken, your sister who has never been involved in anything of this nature before, your sister who's been a victim of a setup and a smear campaign, gets 86 years in prison. So think about the case of your sister Dr Aafia Siddiqui. And throughout all of this, you think about the ayah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, أَحَسِبَ النَّاسُ أَن يَتْرَكُوا أَن يَقُولُوا آمَنَّا وَهُمْ لَا يُفْتَنُونَ. Do people think that they say we believe and they will not be tested? You think about the words of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, أَشَدَّ النَّاسَ بَلَاءً الْأَنْبِيَاء ثُمَّ الصَّالِحُونَ ثُمَّ أَمْثَالُ فَالْأَمْثَالِ. That the people who received the greatest of tests were the prophets, and then the righteous, and then a person will be tested in degree to their iman. You think about these things, and then you feel some solace in the fact that you knew how great your sister's iman was, and how much action she done, and how much sacrifice she made. You find solace in that this test, you feel that this is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because He loves her. And then you reflect on other ayat from the Quran. وَإِنَّ هَذِهِ أُمَّتُكُمْ أُمَّةٌ وَاحِدَةٌ وَأَنَّ رَبَّكُمْ فَاتَّقُونَ. That this ummah of yours, this nation of yours, this brotherhood of yours is one brotherhood, and I am your Lord, so worship me. And so you look at this ayah, and you look at the response of Muslims. You look at their response. You think of the ayat like إِنَّمَا الْمُؤْمِنُونَ إِخْوَةٌ. The believers are nothing but brothers and sisters. You think about these ayat, and then you think about the response of the Muslim community. You find that Muslims are not particularly interested in not just your blood sister Aafia Siddiqui, but the situation of Muslims around the globe today. You look at this situation, and what you find is some Muslims saying about your sister, well, there's no smoke without fire, she must have done something wrong. You look at the situation and you compare it to the ayat, and you can't see a correlation. You can't see the ayat of Allah where Allah says that this is one brotherhood, you're all one. You look at the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, al-Muslim akhul Muslim, that the Muslim is a brother of another Muslim. He doesn't backbite him, he doesn't betray him.